Right, guys, welcome back. This is Above Average FPL. My name is Adam. As always, I'm joined by Baker. How you doing, mate?
Just I'll take a mouthful of drink. Yes, I am very well.
Because
Cheers, mate. Good
I said I
timing.
was going to do a little intro and then say hello, but I didn't do that. I just said hello straight away. So we did a podcast on Sunday with FPL General, which was great. If you want to go and check that out, the video is in the link is in the description below. But we need to talk about Bruno. So we've talked about Rashford, but we need to talk about Bruno. We've also had the close of the transfer window, so a number of different options, maybe FPL options, maybe players coming in that are making other FPL options better, seeing as Chelsea have bought an entire new club. And we've also got the fixtures now confirmed from the FA Cup draw from Monday evening. So we can see how the permutations work now for game weeks 25, game week 28. United are playing as we record because it's about 20 to 9 on Wednesday. Deadline in a couple of days. We needed somebody else to come and join us to talk to us. So, Hibbo, welcome to the podcast, mate.
That makes it sound like we had no one else.
I know it sounds as if I was like the last resort, but no. Look, thanks for inviting me on. It's nice to meet Adam Baker. Like we've obviously been DMing for quite a while and stuff like that. But no, you are one of my favorite pods, I think, in the FPL space at the moment. I think you are doing great stuff, and it's nice to come on. Obviously,
it's because we have random banter like making people feel terrible, but actually it's like very kind-hearted. Oh man, yeah, no. So Hibbo has an excellent record in FPL. He is a fantasy football scout contributor, well known in the community. He is actually, I think it was when I last checked, 59 followers away from 10,000. So if you're watching this, listening to this, and you don't follow him, get on Twitter, follow him at Hibbo_FPL. Go and do that right now. There you go. How's that? Is that better?
Give me over the line. It's a long time coming. It's a long time coming, and I've been a bit lazy about it. So get me over the line.
Baker said the best thing about it is that you don't actually see how many you have. You just goes from 9,942 or whatever to 10k.
The big number.
It's good. And then you never have to check it again. I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I'm never going to think about it. I'm only just probably gone back under it. Checked it since. But
it would be very embarrassing if you went back under, like fake 10k shout.
That's the
that's what happens.
If I keep tanking that rank, mate, you never know.
Yeah, I'm catching you. I'm getting there. But hello to everyone in the YouTube chat this evening. There's currently like 65 people in there. So hello to all of you. Hope you enjoy what you're going to be watching this evening, listening to. If you're listening back on a podcast, should we just fly straight into it? Bruno Fernandes. Different animal? Do we think he's a different animal now that he's back? Now that we're back from the World Cup, no Ronaldo.
So disclaimers here. I haven't got Bruno, but I do have roots to him. You don't have Bruno, Adam, but
I don't have,
and you don't really have roots to him. And Hibbo, you have him.
I have Bruno, but I had a very easy route to Bruno because when we came back from like the game week 17 restart, I played like a 3-5-2 and I had Mount. So I jumped on Mount because of the fixtures and the double game weeks, and like Mount was obviously terrible. Well, he scored 10 points in one of the games, but like apart from that, he was fairly bad. So it was an easy route for me to get to Bruno, but I don't know, like we're looking at him since the restart, and I think he's had what, 2 goals and 3 assists, like 5 attacking returns, but as an asset, he has been largely underwhelming this season. And I think, like, if we look at especially his shot data, I think, like, if we look at, say, the last 6 matches, I think Fernandes has had 13 shots. And, like, there's 22 players in the division that have done better than that over that kind of 6-game period. So that shows you a big drop-off compared to, like, what he was doing maybe, like, his 200 plus point season, maybe 2 seasons ago. So, big chances aren't great. He's had 1 big chance in the last 6. And I think that was a goal against Man City, which probably could have been an offside. What do you think? I think they were lucky that it wasn't an offside.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think we both. Yeah, we said that we thought that it wasn't offside.
We were probably just stirring though. To be fair,
we probably were a little bit. But I can see why it wasn't given, and I can see why people are pissed off that it was given. Is kind of where I am.
It was like a very technical play on the rules.
Yeah, there's a lot more of that, isn't there?
Aye.
But,
Which was clever on his part, and it wasn't so clever on Man City's part, but no, I think whenever I say look at my editor at Scout, Neil Rigg, Neil wrote a great piece on Bruno during the week, and he made a great point. He said that basically 60% of Bruno's 40 Premier League goals have come from big chances. And he's looking really at, I suppose, the reduction of big chances. And let's face it, Bruno's not playing as a 10. Like Bruno's not playing nearly like an auxiliary striker anymore. That's not really his thing. And another point is that over a third of his big chances in his United career have come from the penalty spot. And I think there's obviously a bit of uncertainty about penalties at United, because when we look at, I think this season Martial's taken one, Rashford's taken one,
and Ronaldo's taken the other
Ronaldo.
one. Yep.
Ronaldo's taken one.
United have had 3 penalties given to them, and each one of those players has taken one. And everyone's telling me this week that Bruno's on penalties because Bruno keeps handing the ball to these guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of teams that at the moment, the person who isn't taking the penalty picks up the ball first, and then they hand it over to avoid any distractions and psychological things and that. Yeah, we don't know if that's the case. Of course, we know Bruno's a great penalty taker. We know that. That's what we do know. But we also know Rashford is a good penalty taker as well. So,
the thing with Bruno, I feel like he's so opportunistic. Like I feel when I watch Bruno, he's I've said it before, but I feel like he's the best off the ball runner in the league, in that he decides to make runs which you can't really fathom in some ways. Suddenly somebody's pressuring the keeper and you're like, why is he doing that? And he just suddenly decides to run 40 yards and pressure the keeper, and it seems to always end up in they then lose the ball and suddenly they're 3-on-2 and he scores. He does things which don't always sit well with the stats for me, Bruno. He's sneaky, isn't he? He's sneaky. He's not the nicest of people, I don't think, in that sense, but he is ruthless in that, and he just seems to get points when they need him. Could he blank both games? Yeah, it could definitely blank both games. Could he walk away with 20 points? Yeah. You said before, what did you say before we came on about Bruno and triple captaincy?
Me?
I
You, Hibbo.
think I was getting a beer.
I wouldn't.
You said you wouldn't go into this weekend without either Bruno or triple captaincy.
No, the way I framed that was, say anybody that used their triple captaincy recently in Haaland. So I used my triple captaincy in double game week 20 on Haaland.
Yeah.
So I'm going into this week. I don't have the option of the triple captain and Rashford. Now, if people are kind of questioning whether they're going to buy Bruno, I know some people are kind of eyeing up the hokey cokey. Will I move kind of KDB to Bruno and then go back to KDB? Well, like my point is, if you don't have Rashford triple captain and you don't have Bruno this week, you're basically settling for a red arrow. Like, you're not playing the game. You're basically saying, look, I'm not going to be able to make any kind of ground this week. And I don't think it's a play. Like, I think structurally, I think it's difficult for people to get to Bruno. I think some of the teams have like 3 names where they have maybe KDB, Kane, and Haaland, obviously. And I think those kind of teams structurally they're kind of propped up by, say, Almiron in midfield, and they're struggling to then kind of transition to like a Bruno side easily without, say, like hits. Now, I know Baker, like, you might take a few hits because you want to play the game, but I think a lot of people will just say, you know what, I'll maybe let Bruno go. And I don't think I would like to see my team update on Friday night and then look at my players on the points page without Bruno and think to myself, Crystal Palace, Leeds, he scored against Crystal Palace, and the God's honest truth, you were talking about those kind of ghosty runs against Crystal Palace in the last game. He made some really good runs and he wasn't picked out. Like, late in the game, he had a chance where he could have really scored at the death they wanted for them after they conceded the free kick, and he didn't shoot, but there was another chance where they could have played him on. And I think his role's changed. He's not Bruno the second striker. He's kind of Bruno the provider. And I think, like, whenever I'm looking at him this season, like, if you kind of zoom out and look at him from like a season whole kind of view, like, he's created like 27 chances, 8 big chances, And the only people beating them flat are like Kevin De Bruyne and Trippier. Like they're elite kind of creators. So you're starting to see, maybe, I suppose, like you could maybe call him like a floating eight. Sometimes he appears in the kind of right hand side, and then you're looking at set pieces, and like Eriksen was totally dominant in set pieces. You know, corners, I think he took 50 this year. And somebody has to soak them up, and you're going to assume, I think rightfully, that Bruno's going to take a lot of set pieces. Shaw's going to take set pieces as well. And I think it bodes well that he's playing Palace, because Palace are terrible against the high ball. You know, they're terrible again. They're terrible against set pieces and head of goal attempts.
Guys has never come off his line in his entire career.
And the penalty thing is,
should we just captain Shaw? Is it?
You could captain Shaw. You could captain De Gea. You know, I do think United defensive options are good this week as well. You know, for people that structurally can't get De Bruno.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
No, you're there. I think that's
I think you're there.
You're the because you're already there with De Gea. Like, I think there are different ways in which you can do it. If you're going in without free United, I think that's very, very risky this week.
No.
I think if you've got free United, would you then take a United out to get Bruno in? It's probably not enough for it. But I do like the fact of thinking what you're saying there, which is like, just play the game. You want to play this game every week. Like, we are playing the game. And I think that's where I am on it. What about then? So if people are looking to get him in, Kane or KDB seems the obvious routes. And I think me and Adam have both been like, we ain't get rid of Kane. And there's definitely blinkers to it. But also, I think looking at the fixtures, there's potentially a Liverpool double. And I'm not sure. I wouldn't want to go back to Darwin. I wouldn't, really easy move at some point. For example, could be like Bruno and Kane to Salah and Darwin if Liverpool are any good at some point. I just don't like the idea of getting rid of Kane. That's my feeling on it. But you're less biased in that world. Who would you be more inclined to get rid of?
You've seen my team. My team's pretty kind of weird. You know, if you look at my team, like, I came back after the restart.
Yeah.
I didn't go for Kane. Also didn't move to KDB, and I don't want to kind of blow my own trumpet here, but like whenever I was looking kind of down the line. So if, like, have you ever heard Praz talk about? Think about what your wildcard team would look like in 22. Think about what an optimal wildcard would look like in any kind of certain week. I kind of did this in forecasting. Whenever I did it, I couldn't fit Kane in. Kane just didn't fit in for me in any way, shape, or form, because I kind of thought to myself, well, what if I want KDB? Because I'm also maybe going to want Bruno, and I'm also going to want these two Arsenal mids. And I kind of decided in my head, I need to be playing a 5-man midfield to kind of fit all these boys in. And it's kind of worked out to a certain extent, although I've held Salah, and Salah's been terrible. But I don't know, things could change. Well, I know we're going to look at fixtures later on, but Liverpool don't blink in 25. There's a chance they don't blink in 28. There's a chance that they might double in between, and they could end up being the team with the highest number of numerical fixtures between now and maybe game week 29. And if that's the case, as bad as Liverpool have been, I'll be back there with bells on. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I've put your team on the screen there so everyone can see. And I think, the trade-off that you've taken is kind of almost the Saka and Bruno, and having like Mitrovic, for example, or even say Greenwood. Saka, Bruno, and Greenwood is kind of my KDB, Andreas, and what is Tony, I guess, or Kane, sorry.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Andreas, Mitoma, and Kane, I think is probably what the three. So
yeah.
It's strong.
I like the 5, mate. I really do like the 5 in midfield.
It's hard to see where I go this week, but I know we'll touch on that kind of later on. But no, it's nice to have the 3 United players, the 3 Arsenal, and the 3 City in place, although arguably my City and Arsenal trios aren't the best, but we'll come to that later, I suppose.
Where are we going? Fixtures?
We can go to fixtures. You were talking about them, so did you want to look at the number of fixtures, or did you want to look at the actual fixtures?
Oh, either or.
Because I've got Legamane's ticker here. So for anyone that's not familiar with Legamane's ticker, Essentially, double game weeks are highlighted in a huge black box, and there's a sort of a lighter box in game weeks 28. 25 has already been taken out because games have been confirmed now, basically. But in 28, there's some lighter boxes around for games that could become a blank. Green's good, yellow's okay, red's bad. So how else to describe that?
That's the thing on Bruno, isn't it? You have got to get rid of him. If you do get him in, you have got to get rid of him.
He's not an easy sell.
He's not an easy sell because it's 2 good games after in 23, 24. And you looked at 25 and you were like, who would I move him to in 25? It's difficult. It's really difficult.
But I think if you think about it this way, the risk is going to kind of minimize a bit. The risk is going to kind of nullify because so many people are going to do this KDB, Bruno, hokey, cokey and go straight back again. So many people are going to go Bruno to an Arsenal midfielder, and his numbers aren't exactly off the wall. We know he was creating chances. We don't know if he's on pens. He's got 2 great fixtures, but I think after that you could just kind of trust the fixture move and just move to. I know people may be interested in Mahrez as well. You know.
Oh, I'm interested. I'm interested in both the horrendous people of Bruno and Mahrez. Just give me the trolls. Anybody that can be painful, but they kind of fun. It's double game week time. Like, have the fun with it. I just feel like it's have the fun with it.
I feel way too relaxed. I feel way too relaxed going into double game weeks at the moment. I need some chaos.
Yeah. But they've worked for you as well. I think that's probably, you get a bit battle hardened, don't you? The Mitrovic one works out. Yeah. You went without it. Every time you go without someone in a double game week, you're more relaxed going to the next one. Every time you went into a double game week and you did go for it and you come out of it without the win, you're like, oh, God, do I go? Do I do this again? Do I take that trap knowing that I probably wanted rid of him afterwards? But, you know, we are very, very scarred in both ways on this. But I just look at it and think, Palace and Leeds at home, mate. It's just, it doesn't get much more fun than that. And the City ones, like, the thing is about coming off KDB and we want to get back there. Man, I mean, out the other side, you have got Forest and Bournemouth.
Yeah.
The problem is European games scheduled either side of that.
Yeah. Leipzig.
It's risky.
I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen there. I think, KDB is probably more risky than someone like, I mean, we're going to keep Haaland anyway, but.
Yeah, of course.
But, you know, Pep likes, we know Pep, he likes momentum. He likes to keep that sort of train rolling, so to speak. So if he gets good results, and as you say, they have to win against Arsenal. They'll need to go to Forest and win. They'll need to go away to Bournemouth and win. I think if they're home games, maybe not. But I think away games, I think he'll still want to put out as strong as possible, get job done in 60 minutes, and then go, right, lads, Leipzig in the week, time to rest, and go from there.
I'll ask a hypothetical question. What about if Man City lose to Arsenal? How do you think? There's going to be a gap, isn't it? It's going to be 12 points or?
Yeah. Good point, that. So they lose
to
Arsenal.
do they potentially kind of give up the ghost? I know there's a lot of season left, but do they potentially kind of think it's Champions League or bust here? Like, am I going to make up 12 points? I don't know. Psychologically, what's your views?
Well, they're going to have. I think, given the fixtures that United have got next 4, right? You'd expect them to pick up 9, 12 points out of those 4 fixtures. They're going to be right on City. Newcastle, right? Newcastle have got West Ham, Bournemouth next 2. Then Liverpool at home. That feels winnable. And then suddenly there's a 6-pointer in game week 26. Right? That becomes a huge fixture. And then City could end up, after game week 26, City could be 4th. And looking down, potentially. I don't know who's behind them, because whether we us, Chelsea, Liverpool, Brighton, I mean, whoever's in and around.
Chelsea's fixtures are good, mate. They're going to make a run. They're going to make a run.
So they'll end up probably having to be looking downwards if it goes wrong for them. They could be. a draw
Yeah.
against Tottenham, let's say, because I'm optimistic as hell, and and then lost to Arsenal, yeah, and then if they don't get 3 points against Newcastle, I mean that's huge, and that will be
but
title over, of course.
there is the fact that if they play Forest and Bournemouth with Foden and Alvarez outside Haaland rather than Grealish and Mahrez, I reckon they'd be okay.
Well, yeah.
Could
So,
be.
yeah, no, it could. When we say they're prioritising, they've still got 2 players for every position, but it does make them. You are right. You are right. But the other way round on City is if they beat Arsenal, blood's in the water.
Of course. It's like at a big time.
Blood's in the water.
But I think if we're going to look at them, I think from like a fantasy point of view, they've got obviously the double game week 23. They cover the blank game week 25. They're very likely going to blank in 28. So I think, well, if they're like a me on Aki, I probably transition to like a Newcastle defender post. Once I come off it.
We are going to get pepped in 25. We're all going to have triple City and then end up with 8 players in the team.
Could happen.
It could absolutely happen. Yeah, it's going to be fun. We're still in 22. Let's get that done. Leeds. Any interest?
I did have some interest in Rodrigo, but we discussed this beforehand. There's doubts that he might be potentially have an ankle injury.
Yeah. So Adam Pope, podcaster in the Leeds world, didn't confirm or deny, but basically said there's loads of talk about it, but they're not going to say anything before the deadline closes. That was yesterday, and the rumours going around that he's got an ankle injury and is out for 6 weeks. I mean, I'm very, very strongly considering Mitro to Nonto this week so that I can move to 3-5-2. And if Rodrigo's out, I think I'm pretty much nailed on. I'll do that. It's just another man out of the way.
Yeah, I think looking at and not to move away from Leeds, but the Instagram post from Gabriel Jesus has kind of calmed me down on perhaps going Tony to Nketiah as well. So Nonto's looking potentially more likely
this week. Would you come off Tony this week? Do you think?
Well, for the double, yeah, maybe the Forest game's probably enough. I mean, if it's
someone said that Southampton's figures were pretty good. I haven't seen that, but apparently, defensive wise, the numbers have been pretty good since they've come back.
We've got the rolling charts here, so I can have a quick look at them from a defensive point of view, and they have improved significantly from the start of the season, conceding on average 1.6 xG to down to 1.1. In fact, they're the 7th best defense in the league at the moment, as it stands for the last rolling 12 games.
These are great charts, aren't they?
Yeah, these charts
so good.
So yeah, so at FPL Chase on Twitter, data's from FB Ref. So yeah, the non-penalty XG conceded, and then the XG.
Yeah.
But
so Arsenal.
It's mad that you only have one team above 2, isn't it?
Yeah. We had some good spells. I mean, it was difficult, but last season, is
like you look back there, Man City and Liverpool, and that wee kind of stretch there, they kind of were all both above 2.
Yeah, considerably above 2, and they're not. They're not. Yeah, they're not. Man United 4th. Still flitting around game week 22. Hibbo, what's your thoughts on triple captaincy, Rashford or Haaland?
If I had it, I would probably play it in Rashford this week.
Any firmer, Adam, on playing it, no playing it?
No, I'm no closer. This is going to be a Friday decision.
It's definitely a Friday
decision. I need press conferences. I need absolutely everything before I...
Not playing.
Do you have to play it this week?
Yeah.
You have to play it this week or next week?
Basically. Yeah. Basically,
I'm firmly on that you play it this week or next week. I know that there's a lot of people that would say there's going to be more doubles, and there is going to be more doubles, but I just like the idea of getting it done.
I think if you look at kind of the McGill tag from fixture probability, I know you've got that as a graphic, like, but and I know Mikel bases. I know he bases his ratings on like Ben Crellin's percentages. Like my first thought whenever I looked at that, and I know we had talked about it prior to coming on air, was that I look at that and I think I'll probably wild card potentially. I'll probably wild card in 29.
Yeah,
because lots of teams that double in 29 look as if they double in 34 as well. Now,
yeah,
fair percentage of them look as if they're going to blank in 32, which kind of looks well for the free hit.
Yep.
But this would all be dependent on me being able to dead end on the 28. Now, if I would need kind of Liverpool and Fulham to go on there to make this really kind of doable. But that's kind of where I'm leaning with that. But I think if you think about this, if you're going to play your wild card this week, if you're going to play your bench boost this week, then you're relying on a really small double, or you're relying on 37 to play your triple captain if you don't play it in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, it is. 37 is going to be the one, isn't it? Really, I think what you've said there, the doublers in 29, double in 34. Why wouldn't you wild card and have the optimal team for that 29? Be able to play right up to the window, smash through it. We might have
the big thing.
We might have like Brighton doubles in 30 or 31 as well for them. So you're going to be like, I'm going to load up.
I think that's a fantastic point, because if you're dead ending on the 28, you're not going to have triple Brighton. You're going to need to get triple Brighton. And if there's a chance that they pick up another double on there in 30-31, they then blank and they end double in 34. There's no way around that for me, apart from wildcard, free hit, bench boost down the line and kind of 34. But I think for anybody with a triple captain chip, like I suppose Adam, it's worth bearing in mind. But then you look at what Haaland did against Wolves, and you kind of think to yourself,
so difficult.
Had he not done that, I'd be all over the triple captain right now.
Yeah.
I'd have confirmed. But he just reminds you. He just steps up and reminds you. Yeah, I'm
100%.
fucking good.
that is the issue. It's Haaland.
Like Salah used to do it last season as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, look how many weeks we get no gain out of Haaland. Like we're going to get to finish the season and watch the, probably the greatest ever season from a player in terms of goals, and we've made nothing of it. And I'm like, the idea that I get to actually enjoy him score some goals potentially, and I get to potentially enjoy him score some goals against Arsenal. I'm like, this would be sweet. This would be sweet.
Feels a little bit biased.
Oh, it's biased, but it's also biased towards the best player, and he's the best player in the game.
Yeah.
When I was looking earlier this week at taking out, I was thinking about Kane and saying about should I move on Kane? And I look how many points Kane's got. And I'm like, 140 odd points. Oh yeah, Haaland's obviously got more than that. And I'm like, what? Why would I not do the triple captaincy on Haaland? It's tough. Yeah, I just hope when it comes to the end of the 23 that basically Rashford and Haaland got about the same points, because then it feels okay. But that's not how this game works.
I'd be happy with either of them getting it. Either of them getting more than Haaland did in 20 would be great.
Yeah,
that's the win.
Yeah,
it's a terrible chip.
It's a terrible chip. It's just one extra captain.
Because I'll take you back to say last season, okay? Now, like I played my wildcard in 26 last season. You played your wildcard, Baker, in 26 as well?
No, I wildcarded in 26 and then fell apart as I normally do.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Oh, you wildcarded in 26.
I did watch it, yeah.
You basically took on last season the Salah triple captain against Leeds and Norwich.
Got hammered.
And loads of people, even now they talk about it and they say, it was the best triple captain opportunity. And hands down, it was the best kind of expected points pick of the season by far. But the optimal play was the wildcard in 26. And like I sat here in my kitchen on the TV watching fucking Salah tear like Norwich and Leeds to shreds. And like my heart was just pumping.
That Leeds one was bad. I went to
why have I done this to myself? Like,
yeah, I went to an FPL meets thing for the Norwich one, and that was bad. We were all like crowded around a little laptop looking at it, and I was like, oh, God. But the Leeds one, where they just kept self-destructing and just back passing and doing stuff, I was like, that's the world's worst.
Didn't Alisson get the assist for Salah's goal against Norwich? Wasn't it that one that you just
poofed it down?
Yeah, fuck's sake. That was terrible.
Yeah, they were horrendous.
But like my
Yeah,
point is really in the grand scale of things, this is one extra player. Although in a double game week,
it doesn't
it's
make or
two
break your
fixtures.
season. It really
It
doesn't.
doesn't make or break your season. And on seasons gone by, I've had shit triple captains. I've triple captained Shane Duffy. I've triple captained fucking Andy Carroll. Believe it or not, like Andy Carroll, like, you know, and that's how bad it is. And Andy Carroll was one of those that I didn't use my triple captain, and I was then looking for an opportunity down the line, and I just kind of ran out of runway, if you know what I mean. So I think people should Haaland or Rashford, flick a coin, and
Yeah,
And away you go.
and away you go. So we've solved strategy. We've solved what we're doing 22. Arsenal. We need to keep asking people about Arsenal. Who's your preferred free for Arsenal, and who do you think you go in with for free for 23?
Well,
I have Ben White, so
Will you keep
I'm
Ben
not
White?
coming off. I'm not coming off Ben White. It doesn't make any sense. I've got Saka. I absolutely love Saka, like real life. FPL, I just love him, the bats. I've got Martinelli, and I kind of think Martinelli's getting I think he's getting a tough ride at the minute. I
He's
think
getting a
people are
hammer, mate.
talking
He's going to
about.
drop in price tonight, mate.
Don't care. You know, I don't think his ex-mans are as under threat as people say. Like, you know, if you look at his mans compared to, say, like Odegaard over the season, Odegaard gets subbed off quite a lot. Martinelli hasn't been subbed off quite as much, and I think he's clearly first choice. I think like people are talking about Smith Rowe coming back. Smith Rowe, A, has the previous fitness, and B, has the previous quality, because he's going to have dropped off. Martinelli, I think, kicked on a bit. Trossard, in the short term, I think his wife's pregnant. Did you read a thing that Trossard missed training recently because his wife's expecting in the next few days? So I think in the immediate, Trossard, I don't think will be a threat for Everton. And then he's got sleepless nights, as we know.
Expected sleepless nights. We can add that with the expected haircuts, expected sleepless nights. Done. That's loaded in.
But all things considered, I would rather have Odegaard than Martinelli.
Yeah.
Now, Nketiah, his numbers are obviously off the wall. I did a tweet maybe last week where I basically said that his numbers were the only person that was beating his numbers for like big chances and XG and all that kind of carry on was Haaland since the restart. And Haaland had played a game more, which again is kind of surprising. But I thought Nketiah would be a really good pick, but then I'm kind of thinking to myself, and I kind of thought Jesus wouldn't be back as soon as what he is, but now we're seeing on his Instagram that he's on the grass.
Yes, we are.
We are seeing that he's on the grass, and even though he might not be up to speed straight away, he has to get back to match fitness. Now that you need your Arsenal assets to carry you through the game week 28, I think you have to think like this, because they double 23, they play a blank game week 28, they play blank game week 25. You need them for the full stretch. If you're going to fix them once. You're not going to fix them twice. You're not going to have the transfers. So for me, I think I would go Odegaard because I'm a kind of template, safe, boring manager. Now, Nketiah could absolutely shit points for 3 weeks, but
I think if you've not got 2 frees as well, like getting Eddie in and getting Bruno in, knowing that Bruno's not going to play in 25 and Eddie might not be by then, you are starting to load yourself into a lot of transfers, potentially. I think if you're looking to get Bruno in and then getting rid of him for 23, I think Eddie's potentially fine. But I think a lot of people are looking at bringing Nketiah in for this week for the Everton game beforehand. That's the danger. We're going to know so much more. I'll start the rooms, but I have a very sneaky feeling that Gabriel Jesus plays against Man City in 23. I just feel if they can get him on that pitch for that game, they don't need to win that game. They need to draw that game. Like they just need to get through that game and get rid of it. If anyone they want to play for that defensive press, to that work on it, if they think he can play him, I would not rule it out. And we in FPL, we see the stats, and we will build the narratives we want to build. And you can say I'm building the narrative because I haven't got Eddie and Nketiah in my team. But fact is Gabriel Jesus is a big player for them. Is a big part of the reason why they got where they got to. And the expectation from Arsenal fans is that he's back for 25. But, the expectation, I think, from FPL fans that he's back at 29, something like that. They've wild carded, and we're like, well, why would they rush him? Why would they rush him? If they cannot let Man City, especially again, if they lose to Man City, they cannot risk anything. They are literally going to have to push full throttle to beat the Man City. They will keep coming. You've got to push full throttle. Arteta's ruthless, mate. It will happily put Jesus in for Eddie the second he thinks he's fit enough, in my mind. It's just a doubt that I don't necessarily know. I think I'd need, albeit Eddie plays next 3 games, I think he'd probably score 5 goals. and that wouldn't surprise me at all. I'd just make sure I've got an out, or be the sort of manager that's willing enough to take hits to get him out if I need to.
I know this is getting a wee bit further down the line, but sometimes I kind of think like this. Like, what about your forward slots in general too? Like, if I know Ben's maybe predicting that it may happen, it may not happen, but he's talking about like a Liverpool could double in 25 and possibly double in 26. I think he seems to think more chance of doubling 25. And if that's the case, you are going to go back to Darwin, and if you're always going to have Haaland, so like what are you going to do with your kind of forward slots if that's the case? And I think structurally, I think it nearly makes a wee bit more sense. Well, for my team anyway, they have the 5 in midfield, they have Haaland up top, and then maybe bring Darwin in for Mitrovic if it was to happen. Because it would play those doubles, and there would maybe be a chance, I suppose, that Liverpool could play the blank game week 28. But I think with Nketiah, when you need him, is he going to be there? I think it's that basic. And I know there's maybe, like, if you look at his kind of ownership, his ownership's on fairly low. It's on the floor, and he's one of those players that could be like a rocket booster. If you get him on, they could shoot you up the ranks. There's no doubt about that. But I do think I'm kind of cautious in the way I play, and I probably will go Odegaard, who I really like. I think he's one of the best players in the league.
So does that mean? So you're saying to go Odegaard as a pick because you're on Martinelli, Saka, and White. So
yeah,
okay.
I would think I would maybe transition Martinelli to Odegaard.
Okay.
Somehow, but I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, because I was kind of planning on going Rodrigo and for Martinelli, and I know that sounds crazy because he plays for Leeds, but it was a consideration with a double because I just have spare transfers. Yeah, if I could roll the 3 transfers this week, I would fucking do it. Like, it's just.
I think Eddie will still be big owned, but I do think he'll be big owned by start 23. Tony, Adam's got Tony, and he's about 28, 30% owned. And I think a lot of people will use that as an easy way. He's the easy one to get to. Of all these ones, he's the easy one to get to, and I think people will work that out. And if he scores even 1 against Everton, then I can see a big bandwagon happen on Eddie. So I feel like won't be a huge differential. I think it'll be a big threat if you haven't got Eddie come Gameweek 23, but he's not for me.
I think Everton could be a hard game. Initially I looked at Everton and thought it's going to be a soft game, but then you see like small changes that Sean Dyche has made, and it was like he made the players wear high socks and shin guards. Did you see this?
I did not see this. Tell us about this.
This was a photo that was on Twitter, and he basically says that he's demanded that all the players wear shin guards and high socks at training because he wants to set tone and set the tempo for how he wants to play in games. And I thought, fuck, this sounds good. He's just going to go onto the Arsenal match and just fucking clatter under them. And Everton have lacked ball, like, what? They have been kind of weak, like. And I think Sean Dyche has been a good appointment. I saw Bielsa was linked, and I thought he wasn't really a good match for their style, but I think maybe as the season goes on, like, we could be looking at people like Tarkowski as like really cheap kind of options, maybe for like some kind of fifth defender, maybe. But we might do it.
One's going to be fun, mate. I can tell you that I've been an absolute sucker for Charlie Taylor at Burnley many seasons.
So was I.
Absolute sucker for it. And there's 2 words for Sean Dyche you're going to hear over and over again: touch and go. He will say about Patterson for at least 4 weeks that he's touch and go, and then he'll say Yeah, he's still striving for true fitness. I've never heard any manager other than Sean Dyche say the words true fitness, but he fucking loves it. And you will hear him say it over and over again at Patterson. And then the team comes rolling out and it won't be Patterson, it'll be Seamus Coleman, and it'll be Seamus Coleman again, it'll be Seamus Coleman again. Because I've been there, mate. I've been there with Taylor. Who's the other guy? Who's the other Eric Peters? Every fucking week, I think it's going to be Taylor's going to come in and it just be, oh yeah, Peters is starting at left back again. That's what you're going to face with Patterson. It's going to be painful.
He did it with his right back too, because he had Luton and then it changed to some completely random guy. Do you not mind that? I can't mind his fucking name now. When we all trebled in Burnley and we had like Weghorst and like defenders, Jesus, that was
ridiculous.
Rough times.
That's what we do, rough times. We haven't even mentioned Weghorst, but none of us are even entertaining Weghorst, I'm assuming, for this week.
No.
Wouldn't be for me. Although, like in fairness, on United assets, the chances are you can jump on and jump off, but wouldn't be for me.
That transfer's focused on midfield.
Yeah,
right.
Got to be.
What we got left? Cancelo,
who has got his first assist today for Bayern.
Beautiful cross as well, isn't it?
17 minutes in, Choupo-Moting. Fucking journeyman he is, isn't he?
Still in 11, that man.
he comes out in all sorts of quizzes, doesn't it? Of who's played with X, X, and X, and they always chuck Bojan in there because he played it there at Stoke, and you always think it's like this, like it's always sort of like Eto'o, Bojan, and all these fancy ones. But it's all the answer. If you ever have a quiz and someone who's played with, just go Choupo-Moting straight up there
every time.
It's him or Anelka, isn't it? It's always him or Anelka.
Yeah. If it's a bit older, it's always Anelka.
Yes.
Would you just go to Ake? Would you just go to Ake and be done with it?
Probably.
If you had Cancelo.
I have Ake. Now, I didn't feel too confident about it. Do you know, I owned him and I kind of looked at my team and I thought, do I move Ake to another defender and maybe move Shaw to KDB? But now I look at Ake and like Ake was getting the minutes anyway, but now there's that bit of extra security in the fact that Cancelo's obviously gone.
Yeah.
And Stones, do we have a time frame in his hamstring? I think what we could take from that is Laporte's maybe going to play in the centre as opposed to maybe Hogan, maybe replacing Ake on the left-hand side. So I think I'm mixing the short term right up to kind of 25, Ake a wee bit more secure. And I think at 5 million, it could be a steal. I'll probably move off him at that stage. Get Shar or fucking Botman or somebody like that there. But for now, I'll do. And I feel kind of reluctant to go to KDB because KDB hasn't really been hitting the high ceiling stuff either. You know, he's been pretty underwhelming. His numbers have been good and he hasn't been hitting his XGA, but at the same time, I'm just thinking to myself, no, I think I might just stick with Ake and be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, you're solidifying like 5, 6, 7 fixtures really before you're looking to wild card anyway. I think it's fairly straightforward until we get any news on Stones.
Yeah. I think if you're making a defensive transfer in 22 or 23, then Ake, and you're not going to treble up in the attack, then Ake just, for me, the City one is just Ake and those ones. If you're going past it, is it time for propaganda, Adam? Is it time for Tottenham-based propaganda? and do we need to disclaim it because that's been discussed on Twitter?
Yeah,
are we experts?
Adam, do the disclaimer.
Experts and in the knows apparently that convince people to make decisions.
This is all because I bought in Doherty.
Yeah. But one thing we do need to say is we need to say, sorry lads, we got this wrong. We hold our hands up.
No, what the fuck?
We didn't realise that Conte valued Emerson and how little he valued Doherty. Never admitting to anything that's wrong.
Whatever. I mean, he got sick when he was playing, and then
he literally terminated his contract.
So he just binned his contract off. Anyway, but we're going to go back on it again because Porro's the man.
Well, we got a lot of new boys from the transfer window. So We're considering players,
Yeah.
considering players that are going to make players better. You know, we talk about Harry Kane. Theoretically, Pedro Porro could make Harry Kane a better asset.
Oh,
Like
we'll show
massively
some
better.
stats in a minute, mate. He will make him a better asset.
I haven't even put the stats on the screen. That's a mistake. But
Oh, we'll get there.
we've got Mudryk, who was lively last week.
Really lively.
You got Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea as well. You got Badiashile. You know, he's going to shore up that back line. One thing you did say about Badiashile is it's either going to be Chilwell or Cucurella. It's not going to be both.
Probably.
Because he does play on that left-hand side.
And that's good.
Then you've got other players. We may be looking at them. Sabitzer, maybe not. You got Harry Souttar at Leicester. You got Alex Moreno at Villa. You got Malagusto at Chelsea. Keylor Navas maybe, and then you got Danjuma as well. All players that come in and get involved.
Right. There's the other one at Bournemouth, Traore. They paid about 30 million quid for him. He's 4.5 million. It's 4.5 million. So I mean, Bournemouth spending 30 million quid on a guy in January. That feels ballsy as fuck. Like that feels proper ballsy to do that. Man,
What do you think of Danjuma?
You can't. He's not an asset. Not a 6.5.
Is he going to play?
Minutes. Who knows?
Yeah,
No, he's like he'll come off 20 minutes for Sun probably most games. It's a no. It's a no. But Pedro Porro, he's the initial one to look at. Like, yeah, I looked earlier at his FB ref. Now, obviously, it's not the same league he's playing in to what they're playing at in Premier League. That's a disclaimer. But you know, Trippier makes 10 crosses a game. Trent makes 8 crosses a game. He makes 9. So he's in between in terms of that. It doesn't take as many set pieces. Always out swingers. At the moment, we do an in swinger from the right hand side. So normally we're always in swinging from the left hand side. He never took any in swinging corners at all for Sporting this season. So we tend to do it in swing from both sides. So I don't expect him to take corners off of Perisic or Son. But 9 crosses a game. But even without those corners, his XA per game, per 90, is above Trippier. It's above Trent. It's above James. Above Chilwell. In terms of the midfielders, 0.4 XA a game is stupid. Stupid numbers. Like it's, is in terms of numbers. Trippier's on 0.32, but he takes 10 crosses and 5 corners a game. I mean, when you look at this, Trippier's doing 15 balls into the box a game. Like it's just the most absurd asset the world's ever seen. But he's generating more from it. And when it comes to actual XG, he's even above Reece James. It's better than Reece James. So out of all the wing backs, anything in the league, he's top of XA, he's top of XG. It's all open play madness. If you go to FB Ref, you'll just see a series of 99s. It looks like a cheat code when you look at his FB Ref. It's absurd. And yeah, he's a monster, and he's 5.0.
I was so surprised by that. I literally thought they'd benchmark him to Perisic.
Just assumed it'd be 5.5. Just assumed it'd be 5.5. 5.0 is an unbelievable price.
They've literally valued him the same as Doherty. Like the same.
I think it's interesting because we have time to have a look, because
no one's going to go
these
there.
boys don't double. No.
Nah.
And even at that guy, he's playing 25, but he's a very likely to blank on 28. But I think potentially the stretch, if we're looking kind of 29 right through the season end, he could potentially double twice maybe at that point, I think.
The thing is
for me, I could maybe, if I'm looking at Porro, I might look at him for a while first and see. Obviously, he's going to be nailed on, and then Spurs wing backs, if they play minutes, in the Conte system, are fucking great,
Yeah, well, we're going to get to a point in a lot of people have got double Newcastle defence, and obviously 25 they don't play and 26 are away to City. And, you know, I was thinking people have to sell Trippier to get Porro. They're not. You can probably get him for Botman, you know, is most of
sell
us.
Shaw.
Yeah. Or you can sell Shaw.
And funnily enough, I've
Because
got all three of them.
Because Shaw's got no game in 25 and away to Liverpool.
And then
So
no game in 28 either, right?
it's just, we're not going there this week. We're not going there next week. It's 24, 25 before you're even looking at it. But keep it on the table, mate. This is one to watch. It's all we've got, mate, as Spurs fans. We've got nothing else to be excited about. This is literally it.
Yeah, Alex, you need to give us a break in the chat, man. You know, this is...
Who's Alex?
I don't know, but he's saying... Only thing is those stats are from a team that dominate in a poor league. Yes, we know that. He's now playing at Spurs who have barely any of the ball. Yeah, we know that. What am I listening to?
Mate.
Yeah, well...
Emerson Royale has just got 16 points in his last 2 games for Tottenham. So, as crap as we are, Emerson Royale's just got 16 points in his last 2 games.
Look at Spurs wing backs generally. Like, you know, I'll say to Alex, like, you know, look at Perisic. You know, if Perisic was getting minutes when Sessegnon plays, you know, they all play about 50% of the time, as we can see, and they do well when they play. And if somebody was going to play the majority of games, well, you're going to want to be on them at a 5 million, regardless of what you think about Portuguese league data or whatever. You have to pull it from somewhere for the purpose of the show. And I think, look, we have a watching brief. We can look at him now over the next few games and see how he settles in, how he plays. Is he going to get the minutes? Is he going to be nailed? He's not going to be threatened by Emerson, so it could be an option.
If he's offering 0.4 XA per game, Harry Kane, again, it's absurd. The amount of good positions that Emerson Royale's been in over the last 2 seasons. Remember that? What was that game last season? Was it the West Brom game or something like that? When Emerson Royale put in like 18 crosses because they just left him out there. Well, teams won't be able to do that anymore. But if he's putting those balls in, you know, Kane only becomes a better asset. So even if you don't go on him, just understand that Kane's got an upgrade. Yeah.
We have a Martial goal and a Rashford assist.
Have we?
There's some confirmation bias there.
Lid raiser will be getting excited.
Oh, definitely.
He held Martial, didn't he?
Did he? He still got
I think he has. I think he still has Martial.
2 more weeks. So Porro, you know, again, you're right. Wait and see, but you know, positive signs or positive positive vibes from us, of course. Wouldn't expect anything less. Chelsea, Mudryk.
I liked him. I thought it was great. But
busy.
Again, we ain't going to be bringing him in the next 2 weeks, so you've got time.
Yeah. And that's it.
It does work for that stretch 25 to 28 because they're going to play in a blank game. I don't think they have a great fixture off the top of my head. I know there's fixtures ticker about there somewhere, but they're also going to play in blank game week 28 now, I think.
Well, they got Tottenham in 25.
He's one of those. Which isn't ideal. But his ownership's going to be on the floor, and I think he's a nice wee kind of dead end punt. If you know what I mean, it's
yeah.
I wouldn't want to hold him. I wouldn't want to hold him long term, but if I thought I was dead ended on day 28, I would have a pop at it, I think.
And the chances are that if he smashes it, you've got the points and you've got the value going back out the other side as well.
Yeah,
true.
I think that's fun. I think that's fun to be had, boys. Right, so Bruno.
I think we're there apart from our teams.
Triple captain. Swinging with an assist tonight. Does that push you any further over the line on triple captain?
No, still waiting. You could say push over the line. He could get injured in 5 minutes' time.
100%.
Game changes very quickly.
People love about a cup confirmation bias, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta have
two goals against like a fucking League One side, and then they'd be like, "Yes, go on, fucking yes." No, I know it is.
It's 2-0 now as well. Someone else has scored, I think.
I am desperately watching.
Hopefully Bruno shithoused a pen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, imagine if we get a pen tonight. Oh. Imagine if he gets a pen tonight, just like throws it to shore.
Fred, goal, Rashford assist.
Fred essential?
Well, no. No. Do you want to talk
Playing
about
the
our
Eriksen
teams?
role.
No, well, you can talk about
Yeah.
what we can do. What are you going to do?
I have no idea. No, I was thinking now. I was thinking about moving on to. I was thinking about moving Andreas to Martinelli. To be fair, I know Hibbo, you're saying you're coming off him. I need to almost accept that I can't get to Saka. If I'm going to keep Kane, I can't get to Saka. Is kind of the sacrifice I need to make here. Because unless I took Tony down to Nonto. Now we've said this before. I think Tony down to Nonto gives me enough to get up to from Andreas to Saka. I'm
Who would you
still
bench
not
this week?
comfortable.
If you brought in Martinelli for Andreas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's no one.
can't bench anyone.
Can't bench anyone.
He can't bench
No,
anyone.
no, I wouldn't put myself in that position. Matoma, but you fuck.
So
you have
then,
Matoma.
the easiest one
I'd
is
be
to do
well.
like a Bueno to White or something like that.
Yeah.
Bueno to
come on, I mean,
Gabriel.
You're late for game week 25. Looking at your defense, so that would be an option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
wanna
you've
be-
got a lot out of 25, and that's what you've got to start thinking about.
But then I'm quite happy to take. You know, you look at the options in 25. Right. Let's look back at those fixtures.
yeah,
in
they're
20
not the
in
greatest
25.
fixtures.
They're not the greatest fixtures. So unless I go from a Newcastle to a City, who then play Newcastle the next game, and it's like that just completely fucks with my head. You know, I'd rather play two at the back.
And the guys you've got are good
Which will be
fixtures next 2 weeks
Patterson.
anyway.
I'll have Patterson against Villa, and then I'll have say whoever against Leicester, Gabriel against Leicester, let's say, and just go with
Yeah.
those two, play 10, and then go from there.
It's fine.
Wasting the transfer trying to chase 4 points just feels pointless to me.
Wait.
Yeah.
Right. So do you think Raul this week?
Put your team back up.
Yeah, let's have a look at that again. So
I just roll.
yeah, I might as well
They're
just
so
roll.
Good.
Yeah, I
Strike
might as
force is
well
good.
just roll.
You've one transfer.
Yeah. So I might as well just roll because then my 3 would be Shaw, Trippier, Botman, and then I'd have the 4: Odegaard, Mitoma, De Bruyne, and Rashford. Then Tony, Haaland, Kane. Yeah, it doesn't need a transfer.
No.
It doesn't need a transfer. So I could roll into this.
Get
double.
on.
It's mad.
Well,
You're not going to change your United. You're not going to change your United 3, and you need to get on to 3 Arsenal at some point. Aye,
Which I can do next week.
Aye,
Which we do next
aye,
week.
definitely. Your strike
'Cause
force, I wouldn't touch Tony this week. Tony's got Southampton.
Yeah.
That's
We do have to
crazy
be
stuff.
prepared that suddenly, you know, Trossard starts this weekend and scores, and then it all falls apart. Even if he comes on for 30 minutes and scores, like that's going to cause chaos. You know, 60% of the
Maybe
game with Martinelli.
his wife's expecting. You forgot about that.
Who's that?
Trossard.
Trossard.
Trossard's, was it?
It was on Twitter. It was on Twitter that he must train him because his wife's expecting. So I don't think he'll play this weekend.
Yeah, but what if he does?
So
It literally will cause a lot of chaos.
what are you doing then, Baker?
I think I am doing
Baker's babes.
Baker's babes, De Bruyne and Mitrovic to Bruno and Nonto is
Okay.
what I'm thinking I'm going to do. I'm just basically accumulating money. I've figured if I can't accumulate points, I'm just going to accumulate money. So that would give me 6.4 million in the bank.
Shut up.
So I'd have White, Trippier and Shaw at the back. That's fine.
Yeah.
Rashford, Bruno, Martinelli and Odegaard in midfield. And then Haaland, Kane and Nonto up front. So I'd have loads of money. But what it does mean is by accumulating the money, because basically what I could do is avoid the De Bruyne transfer and just do the Nonto to Mitrovic bit and give myself some money. Because effectively what I think I'm going to use that money for is do Andreas to Mahrez in 23. If I just did that, I could just do that. No hits, Mitrovic to Nonto, Andreas to Mahrez in 23. Fine. So effectively then I'm spending 8 points on De Bruyne to Bruno. But if I go back again, if I go De Bruyne, Bruno, back to him. But having 6 million in the bank means that I can do a number of different things depending on what happens this weekend. Because if Martinelli, for some reason, does become a doubt after this week, I could do Martinelli to Saka, and I could do Bruno straight back to De Bruyne. I could leave Bruno in the team, and I could do Martinelli to Saka, and then still do Andreas to Mahrez. I can basically have 2 out of the 3, really, out of Saka, Bruno, KDB, Mahrez. 2 out of the 4, or 3 out of the 4, 3 out of the 4 even. So it would give me lots and lots and lots of different options. So I'm basically banking myself into a -4 this week and a -4 next week. But I do think that it means I go into next week with the team that I want. There's too many things in here that I'm not so sure on. I think the easy one of just a one move doesn't really appeal to me. I'd rather take it. And like you say, go into the game week with Bruno, go into the game week with Nonto, have some fun with it. Team looks fun.
Be alive.
Be alive. Do you know what I mean? Like, try
Be
and make something
alive.
happen for it. Try and make something fun for it.
I was looking at your team, and these are like, I was thinking about transfers, and these are like the deadest transfers I could think of. You could go Ward to KDB, right? Or no, Ward to, not KDB, Ward to De Gea, and you could go Doc to Ake the week after. Like, how fucking boring would those transfers?
You could do that, and it would be fine.
But it would be totally boring. You would have no
totally boring.
Fuck that, like.
It's totally boring. It's just, it's not there.
Let's go on to you then, Hibbo.
What a team. Do you know what I'm going to say here? You tell me what transfers I'm going to make. And see when they go wrong, I'm going to post on Twitter like Bassoni and basically call these out and say, you know, these are dicks. He's led me down the garden path. He's fucked my team up. He's wrecked my fucking season. And I'm going to take absolutely zero ownership of me fucking Game Week 22 team. So you tell me what I'm doing with this team. 2 free transfers, 0.4 million on the bank.
Genuinely, you've got the most perfect team I've ever seen. I have no idea how you can make a transfer. You can't take out any of your.
It's tough, hey?
You're already set for. You could burn 2 here. You're already set for 23. You've got 3 City. You've got 3 United.
For anyone listening, he's got Kepa in goal, home to Fulham. He's got Shaw, Trippier. He's got Dunk home to Bournemouth and White in defence. Then he's got Bruno, Martinelli, Saka, Salah, and Rashford across the middle. He's got Haaland up top. He's already benching Mitrovic and Ake. It's ridiculous.
I've Ederson as my sub-keeper. How disgusting is that? I hate Ederson. I don't know why I own Ederson.
If I was to, I genuinely wouldn't be against taking out Ederson.
Kind of thought about it. I kind of thought about Ederson to Meslier and maybe having that slot to maybe go Salah to KDB. I think if like we're going to talk about being alive, like KDB is going to feel alive. But then I don't know. In my head, I'm kind of thinking to myself, right? Salah's a crap option now. I don't know why I own Salah, but I still own him. But I'm not being punished by KDB and I'm not being punished by Kane, and both of them should have kind of fucking ripped me to pieces. But where I kind of sit now is Salah's got some decent fixtures. He's potentially going to double. He's not going to blank in the 25. He's maybe not going to blank in the 28. And like so much of my thinking at the minute is like, do I want to start moving around, making a Man City options and shuffling the deck to like bring KDB in, who's been underwhelming, really, like, you know? And
but if you went, say, Ederson down to any 4.5 keeper or the likes, or even a Ward type player, then you've got the option that you could, and you have a little bit of cash there, that you could do, say, Salah and Martinelli to KDB and Odegaard, if that's what you wanted in 23. If that was, you know, if you really wanted him. If it turns out Martinelli is not the pick for us after this weekend, you've got that opportunity to do those things. Because you're going to want to play Mitrovic. That's the thing. You're going to want to play Mitrovic in 23 because he's home to Forest. You're going to want to play Ake because he's a double. God, how are you even benching half these players?
I know. I don't know if it's not a bad team, but like on my head too is like I don't want to use like 2 transfers too quick. I would like to kind of I would like to use a transfer this week. I would like to use a transfer next week, and I would like to then have 2 of them coming out of 23, if that makes sense. Because
if it
I
is a
sound like
transfer
Ben
next
Crellin
week,
here, because that's a kind of that's a kind of fucking Ben Crellin level of planning here. And if I was to be coming out of there with 2 transfers, I'd be feeling really good approaching that 25, 26, 27, 28.
yeah. But you have got quite a few out for 25. So you've got Dunk, Trippier, Shaw, Bruno, Rashford, and Greenwood.
Cheers.
So you know, having 2 transfers out of it would be there. If it were me, Ederson would go.
I need to, but Eriksen plays in 25. So does Kepa, I suppose. It's not a great fight. Well,
Kepa
shits
Spurs,
points,
City, Bournemouth.
Kepa just saves all the time, doesn't he? And just scores fucking 10 points.
Yeah.
Like, Kepa's kind of destroyed this Eriksen thing for me, because do you guys know FPL Mahir?
Yeah.
Last season, Mahir bought Eriksen, and I fucking were in like a WhatsApp chat, and I absolutely slated Eriksen. I was like, why the fuck are you buying this guy? It doesn't make any sense. He's got a 6-point ceiling, and like, you know, you're using a Man City slot in this keeper, and then I'm looking at like Kepa and fucking Eriksen goalkeeping combo, and I'm thinking, why have I done this? Like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. But it nearly doesn't make any sense to jump off it. And as good as my team is, I hate that aspect of it. I would love to have an easy route to KDB, and maybe that's just what I should do.
Yeah. I would probably get rid of one of the City players on the bench, despite them coming up to a double game week, because I think I would want to give myself a midfield option. I really would want to give myself that midfield option, and having the option to go to Mahrez, or having the option to go to KDB feels nice. See, how much would you need? How much would you need to drop? Yeah, if you dropped Ederson down to a 4.5, or even a Ward, you'd even have the money to go Martinelli to Mahrez if you fancy getting involved in that world. You wouldn't. You just go to Odegaard. It'd be easy. But you're giving yourself a few chances.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the perfect storm. It's in such a good team.
I stress about my transfers. Do you guys stress about your transfers? No?
Yeah.
I find and see Friday deadlines especially. Fucking God Almighty, I hate Friday deadlines. There's nothing worse, because you're kind of sitting with your family eating dinner, and you're like looking at your phone, going, for fuck's sake, right? And you're waiting to see if like some players dropped off the face of the earth, not to be seen getting off the bus, and you're like, right, what do I do now? And you're, such a fucking stress. Like Saturday morning's fine. You click a buttons and then you take the gears. You click a buttons and you take the gears swimming or whatever you do on a Saturday morning. Whereas like Friday is just so stressful. Like, you've been working all day and I don't like it. And this is one of those weeks like where the pressure's ramped up with a double game week too.
Well, at least you haven't got to play triple captaincy check. No.
Small mercies.
Who is
I'm hoping people avoid Fernandes. Fulham?
Chelsea, Fulham, yeah.
No, it's not Fulham.
Yeah, it's Chelsea, Fulham. So this is no drama there.
Which Mitrovic is probably going to score because he's on my bench.
And wipe out your Kepa clean sheet, of course.
He's been such a troll.
Oh God!
But you made a point. You made a point earlier about Adam, and I think this was a good point about Bruno passing over the ball. But in the recent game, like Fulham against Newcastle, I thought Andreas Pereira was going to take the penalty because he was standing on the spot with the ball, and he kind of had the ball on his chest, and I thought, he's right, okay.
That's what people are doing.
Lip raiser and says he's on pens. He's about to take the fucking pen, and then they kind of took the heat and they took the flag, and then he passed the ball to Mitrovic. So
exactly, because you get all the.
I think they look at that clip about Bruno and think he's passed the penalty. He's given him the penalty. Is that the case? Is he just a decoy? We don't.
Is he the decoy? Could be.
Yeah. On that note,
we'll leave it there, I think. Yeah. So, what we should say, as always,
check your followers, mate. Hibbo,
check your followers. See how you're getting on. Hibbo is about 50 away from 10k. If you haven't followed Hibbo on Twitter, go and do that. And while he's checking, just to let you know that Above Average FPL is supported by Crypto Block Dan. Go follow Dan on Twitter. He's an acquisition analyst working in the play to earn crypto space. Supports us wonderfully. And if you have any questions about the crypto space, blockchain, any of all of that good stuff, go and drop him a follow and drop him a DM. Additionally, we have our Discord. So, lots of questions to be had over the next couple of weeks, especially. And the first month is refunded if you access before the 7th of February. There's someone that joined last week who's not joined our Discord. So I think his name's James. So James, if you're listening to this, I've sent you a message on Patreon. Let me sort you out with the Discord access and we can get you in there. Patreon.com/above-average FPL if you're interested in doing that. If you are not, that's absolutely fine. But seeing as you're watching or listening on YouTube, do make sure that if you have enjoyed what you're listening to, make sure you hit that like button. And if you want to see more, then hit subscribe. And I guess all I have to say is thank you very much, Hibbo, for coming along this evening. We've enjoyed having you on. It's been really good chat. We haven't had to get the subtitles out, so
I think they don't load onto the YouTube until it's processing. So if you got through to it at this point and it hadn't loaded, then sorry.
I think, just to close, I think as an apology, you should give Mark Bassoni free access to the Patron for a month.
no. 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 That is not happening.
I'm only joking, Mark, if you're watching, I'm only joking, by the way, you're a good sport.
Cool, man. Right.
Jits.
Anything else?
See you later.
See you later. Beer's gone. See you later.